Hi, welcome back to English 111 Online. So this week we're going to be working on putting together an outline for Essay 4. You've already chosen your problem. You already know what you're going to be working on. So now we need to put do the research to get all the pieces of it together. First of all, let's review the English 111 persuasive essay instructions. So we know we're going to have 4 to 6 sources for this paper. It's going to be 5+ pages. And then we're going to have, you're going to pick a solution for a problem, for a world problem. So that's what we need to focus on. If you chose the same problem that you had for the cause and effect, that is fine. If you wanted to try a different one for this one, that is fine too. But it has to be one of those problems from the 80,000hours.org website. And if you want to do something that's not there, you have to get my permission to do it. The thing that I would like for you to do this week is then to find 4 sources that are good sources in addition to the 80,000hours.org website. Evaluate those sources, make sure they pass the CRAAP test, and then try to find ethos, pathos, and logos arguments to support your claim. So you're going to put this together pretty much like you would any other essay that you work on, except here is the suggested organization for this essay. Your first paragraph, of course, would be your introduction, as we always have it, ending with your thesis statement or your claim. In argument, we call the thesis statement the claim, the thing that should be pursued to solve the problem. The second paragraph, you would start giving your evidence for the solution to your problem. Another paragraph devoted to another argument for the solution to your problem. A fourth paragraph doing the same thing, and you can add as many paragraphs as you need for that. And then we're going to do something different in this essay. When you get to the 5th paragraph, we're going to have rebuttal, or you're going to talk about the people who would say that your problem is not good to be focused on, your problem is not something that your solution is not something that's going to work. Whatever it needs to be, you're going to have to also recognize the other side. So we're going to have this refutation or rebuttal paragraph. On the Moodle page, there's a link to this site, which gives very good information about refutation paragraphs. So let's take a look at this. Refutation paragraph is normally found only in argument essays and argument research papers, which is what we're doing. It's also known as a concession paragraph. Sometimes we have to concede that what the other side is saying is true, but then we come back and answer and see why they're wrong. And sometimes concession is one of the strongest points that you can have in a persuasion essay. But other times, you still have to, even though you acknowledge that they are right about certain things, then you have to show them where they're wrong, and that your argument for the position that you're taking is the strongest one. So effective refutation paragraph establishes the ethos, your credibility with your audience. You've used reliable sources. You have information. You have documented research that will back up what it is that you're doing. And so as you work through the looking at what the other side said, keep in mind you're going to answer them with the very best answer that you possibly can. If you've ever been in a courtroom during a criminal case, or seen a courtroom criminal trial on TV, you know there's always the one side that says this person is guilty, and then there's the other side that says no, this person is innocent. And both excuse me, and both the prosecution and the defense attorney has to know what the other person's thinking and what kind of evidence they're going to bring in, so there can be this rebuttal or refutation of their argument. So that's what we're going to do with this essay. When you report what the other side is saying, this is a good statement here. Be careful. Writers don't want the other side of the argument to sound better than his or her own. One way of avoiding this is by answering or countering any of the points the other argument has. And that's exactly what I want you to do for this paragraph. I want you to introduce, follow this pattern here. Introduce the opposing argument, acknowledge parts of the opposition that are valid, that you can agree with. That's the concession part. And then counter the argument. So when you're introducing, you may want to use some of these phrases. Here is what those who say this particular solution for this problem will not work, but blank is not completely accurate. Sometimes you would start with where you're going to make a concession. It is true that. You may want to start this paragraph, opposing views claim that, and then that's how you would present what the other side said. And then we're going to say what is right about the other side. You're going to do the concession. Admittedly, certainly, of course, one cannot deny that. At the same time, this is true. Whereas, and we're getting ready for the refutation where you counter the argument. And so introduce the rebuttal, refute the opposition's claims. And how are you going to do that? You're going to have to bring in evidence that disputes what they say. Nevertheless, however, on the other hand, but maybe you're going to have to show that they're wrong because they don't have all the information. Maybe you are going to have to show that they're wrong because their information is old and not currently valid. Maybe you have later information than they have. So whatever it is that the other side is saying, you're going to come back and say what is right about what they're saying, and then you're going to also say how they are wrong, and you're going to back it up with your own evidence to show that they're wrong. Just like in a criminal court case, that's what you're going to do. You're going to be the opposite side attorney for your proposal idea. So the assignment this week is to do the outline, and I brought the outline up already. Let's see if nope, this one. Okay, so I've provided this for you. Now, if you want to use this form and type on it, it's a view only for you, so you'll have to make a copy. To make a copy, you just go over here to File, and then make a copy. And when you make your copy, you can type on your own copy. That is how that will work. But, and of course, you can add as many lines in here as you need. You can get rid of the lines, however you want to do it. The introduction paragraph, you'll want your hook, you want your little background, something that's going to narrow it down to your problem, solution, and say that it must be done or it should be done. That'll be your thesis statement or your claim. For your body paragraphs, please remember that each body paragraph needs to have a topic sentence that tells me what that paragraph is going to be about. This is particularly necessary for your outline. What is it that you're going to talk about in this paragraph? there. In other words, demonstrate why this is a significant problem, and list solutions that you will cover in the essay. Provide evidence from your sources. Remember to ICE, introduce it, cite it, and then explain it. Never end with just a quotation or cited information. Give your own commentary afterwards. So that's the pattern I've laid out for you. Here's your topic sentence where you're going to mention that this problem that this essay is about is a worthy problem to be studied. And you're going to bring in evidence that shows this. This is your background information. Then you're going to give an explanation and commentary on that, and then you're going to start talking about, in the rest of the body paragraphs, you're going to start talking about your solution. So the third paragraph then would be your first solution. So the topic sentence needs to reflect what that solution is. You need to bring in plenty of evidence that shows why that's a good solution. This is how you're going to argue your point, that is through this evidence. And once you bring in the evidence, remember to ICE it, introduce it, cite it, and then explain it. There's going to be a lot of explanation and commentary on your part, which is not quoted from another source. Your fourth paragraph, another solution or another argument for the same solution, however that works out for your essay. The fifth paragraph, another solution or another explanation for that solution. Okay, so I had a little interruption there, a phone call. So then your solution 3 or your argument for that same solution, however that turns out to be. Then when you get down to your 6th paragraph, this is where we're going to do the rebuttal, the refutation, whatever you want to call it, where we look at what your opposition has to say and then you answer how it is wrong. And then your 7th paragraph can also be devoted to another thing that the opposition says, and then you can answer that. And then your 8th paragraph will be your conclusion. Now for this outline, you do not have to fill the whole thing in. This is not like a rough draft, but it's just to let me know that you're far enough along in your research that you've got information for all of this. And so you can answer it in fragments, you can make bullet points, however it is that you want to do it. I want to know what your sources are. So on your works cited entry, show me what sources you have so far. And all of this is going to be typed up into a rough draft next week so that you can work on it and revise it and get ready to turn it in. But this week, the outline does not have to be complete, as in complete paragraphs, but it does need to be to follow this outline and make sure that you have all the information you need to begin writing this week. So have a good week. If you have any questions, contact me and I'll be glad to help you. And I'll talk to you next week.